It looks, yeah, we're in. Okay, what's up? It is. It's Friday, May 29th, 2026. If you're not familiar, this is also broadcasting on YouTube on a channel called Brosif, like Joseph with a BR. Brosifaluppagus, ELUPAGUS. And we're also on FTJ Media, which, by the way, I'll do a refresh on here just to see that I pop up. Hopefully. Right now it's not showing that I'm live, so let's see. There I am. I'm just going to grab that. Evidence of a reset. That's what we're doing tonight. I caught this really interesting channel on Instagram. I think that there's an accompanying YouTube channel I haven't visited yet, but there was a lot of these really cool clips from Luminary Lighthouse. And it was in the same vein of things that we were discussing, touching upon. It incorporates the incorporation, in my opinion. I don't really think he touches upon that, but that's the connection that we can make together, given what we know and what we've discussed already, what we've shown. And here we are. What's up, everybody? Now, I've got a little bit limited time tonight because I got to go do some things with the family, which is exciting. I like that. And maybe I'll do another evening show if I have time. That'll be fun. I'll do that too. But for now, let's get as much of this done as we can. Evidence of a reset. Boom. The architecture tells the tale. And this is going to be primarily Instagram heavy today. We have been away from that for a little while. We're still going to get into more of the Sam Bailey stuff, and maybe we'll do that tonight. The antibiotics one, Stefan Lanka virus, it's time to go. Hollywood's hantavirus is kind of some new material and some stuff that we already covered. I think she split it apart, and the part with the Gene Hackman story on it is, I guess, the full video, so we might watch a little bit of that. And then Doctor, why I refused my baby's vitamin K shot, which is what we also did. I think we went over what we were taught about the plague, but there's some more interesting stuff about that as well that I've caught on other channels. And the only thing they don't say, because what did we say last episode? The leading cause of illness is the cult of supremacy. That is the leading cause of illness, the true leading cause of illness and death. I had a micro SD floating around. I wanted to put back in its slot so I don't lose it. All right. And let's get going first. But first, I think we should watch and remind ourselves. That's fun.
Think white and get serious.
Yes, sir. And this is more of a, yeah, we'll do that one later. I have this on there twice? No way. Well, what's this one then? Oh, it's the same thing. Hold on. Yeah, it's on there twice. That's weird. All right. You see this thing flashing in the corner here? that is not quite the goal. We haven't made it yet. It's the 29th. We have today, tomorrow, and the next day. Now, I know what the... Oh, actually, I haven't actually... I caught a bit of the tail end of what was going on today. I know some of the details because an email went out. But essentially, it's still on life support, in a sense. And yes, it's still heavily dependent upon people going pro, 100%. There's been some, what do you call it? What do they call that? I forgot. I can't think of the fucking word. It just was on the tip of my tongue and then it flew right out of my brain again because of, head injuries and shit. Some developments. There you go. See how that's not hard to think of that word. There's been some new developments that have kind of maybe smoothed out some of the road ahead for FTJ Media, but it's not a permanent thing. So we need the people who care and want to be on that platform, whether it's by viewership and being part of the community, or having the option and the ability to upload on there or stream. But if you just want to save videos that you think are going to disappear and you want to put them on a channel, everything's pretty much what they call it. It's not collecting your data. Like, you can put up any email address. You don't have to really identify anything. It's not that bullshit that you find on other sites. Like with YouTube, I have a whole other email address, but it's part of Gmail, and they know who I am. They don't have the same IP address. It's coming from the same computer. It's not like they don't know who you are. And yet YouTube is insisting that I digital ID verify to unlock so that people actually see the content. So it's dangling it's so stupid, man. Dangling the carrot. It's not something that a wise person would do, but it's also, don't screw with people that are adults, or you need to verify your age. That's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with compliance. It's got everything to do with systemic organization of your data that they can use against you. It's just like everything that you do online now is like what they tell you. Don't talk to a police officer. Never talk to a police officer. Whatever you say and do now, that's the rule, because you walk outside your door and there's a million different things recording you, both in audio and video, and nobody's saying anything about it. No one is really seriously pushing back hard enough, and where this is leading us is very bad. So that's a whole other thing. My point is, you can be somewhat what's the word? You can be anonymous for the most part. And I think the only place left that you can actually do that is here. FTJmedia.com. Make America less gay. Join FTJ. Go pro for $5. I'm not getting anything from that. That's just to help keep the site cost handled so that Dave doesn't have to come out of pocket like he has been for the last 2 years for it. So that's why it's important for the people who use the site to show that it's worth $5 a month to them, because that's like nothing. I'm actually a pro member, as you may have seen. So if you go, here we are, kids. This is the Rumble channel for the Italian Unk. There's already been turds jumping all over that because I made something about small business journey, and it was a very honest and straightforward, calm, nice talk. And then someone said something about putting profits first is the only way you start to. The best way for blah 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 is to put profit first. I'm like, that's a horrible suggestion. And you know what? Let's take a look at that. I think my comment got. All right, let's see. Oh, that wasn't that one. It was the one on this one. My response is still there. I think he deleted his own. Let's see. Just restore my comment at least. So that is a horrible philosophy and one that puts the customer last. I do not subscribe to that at all. If you can, what the hell? Oh, that's what they do instead of apostrophe when it jacks up. If you can't be integral, there's no place for that business in a community. Wow, look how fucked up they did that. So I'm just gonna delete it because it's basically saying it to nobody. But this clown decided to drop the same comment on both the uploads, both on Ballbusters and on the Italian Unk, which, by the way, you should be following. There you go. So you put profit before everybody. I'm like, yeah, well, that's the way to be an asshole. That's the oy vey way. We could also just be a community and not try to like rip people off and, you know, do them dirty for your own gain. Because what the hell kind of in a real society, you would be removed from society if you continue to do that and set out in the woods on your ass and told not to come back. Irvat, maybe the Trogs on Crusaders will become FTJ Pro members. Good evening. I've been a pro member since the beginning. Yes, you have, Thomas E. Dwyer. And that's the other detail of that is people who are currently login members will soon see that there's a, you know, if you want to watch any of the videos now, you are going to be a pro member, basically. So that's how it's been changed. So let me go ahead and go here real quick and just show people real fast. I'll read this in a moment. No, wrong one. Okay, ftjmedia.com. Click. I'm just showing you so that you know where the clicks are. I mean, I could just type it in here, but then you don't see where you can just find the link. Takes a second. And there it is. And then right up top here, it says, Get FTJ Pro. You click that. See me? And then see, it says, You're already subscribed to this plan. And then you can pay with a card, you can pay with your wallet, bing, boom. If you have a wallet, I think it'll automatically go to that. Allows unlimited uploading and streaming for 30 days, automatically renews monthly, and you have the new details should be added. Access to the stuff. Right. All right. Okay. Now we're good. Let's read. We review the base lies of the past that have, over time and narrative control, laid claim to proof of contagion. Oh, this was supposedly deleted. Why the hell did that transfer? That was from yesterday. Gay. You know what? I saw a link and figured, oh, that's the beginning of the links. And then I didn't look further to see if I had to delete the old commentary. It's always something that I miss. All right. Well, anyway, good. We don't have to go through it then. Let's look at these Instagrams. Globally insane India's numbers. And these will get, there's some of them that kind of go together, but it was late. I was on the elliptical. I was liking a bunch of these things. And as I see them is how they were saved. So they're not made in that order because I had no idea what I was going to view next. But I watched a bunch of this guy's stuff yesterday. And here we go.
Insane asylum in Athens, Ohio in the 19th century. And this wasn't just happening in America, people. It was happening all over the world. I'm going to show you England, one spot in England. But what I really want to show you is India. God, look at this.
And who was occupying India? The Brits. And what does that mean? What was British quote unquote imperialism? Bank of England imperialism. And who was in control of that? Well, before the Rothschilds, it was the Swassos. The Swassos were the ones who gave the loan to William of Orange that indebted all of the people and put them into debt slavery. And that's how it all began. By sleight of hand, little magic trick by the magicians. Hold on. We've got claps. Not the clap, we just claps. Oops. And we're snowmen. Oh, I did it twice. Did it twice. That's right. Thank you, Edward Snowman. And again, thank you for being the main producer of the Ballbusters broadcast and supporting it. If it wasn't for you, I would not be here as often. So if anybody has a problem with that, me being here too often, you gotta take it up with them. Just kidding. No, if you're here, you probably want to be, so that's all good. Let's go back to here.
I guess they just don't have any other blueprints than Game of Thrones when they want to build an asylum. Like, okay, Claybury Asylum, it was built in Woodford, Essex in 1888. The very last paragraph, okay, this was 270 acres. Okay, the very last paragraph says the building is designed to accommodate 2,000 patients, 1,200 females and 800 males, which I haven't heard that ratio before. Typically it's male. Now, when you take a step back from America and you realize that this institutional wave is happening at the same time globally, you start to wonder if this insanity is a diagnosis or a form of control. Now, what's frustrating is I couldn't find any photos of these insane asylums that we're talking about, which makes it way more mysterious. Way more mysterious. This is one. These nuns came over.
But yeah, I'm sure the Jesuits were involved. The cryptocraptos. Not that the Roman Catholic or Holy See, Roman Catholic Empire, Roman Catholic Church, or the Holy See weren't. You can just say Vatican, I guess. That's a place, though. Weren't directly involved not only with these types of horrific things and orphanages and the trafficking and harm of children, but also deeply embedded, either with Rothschilds as their property manager agents, or like as in servitude, like knights, which there's some definite evidence of that being the case, being knighted or getting the cross of Saint Sylvester or something similar to that looks almost like a Maltese cross. There's something going on there. The question, I guess, would be who's really in charge of who. But all in all, it's truly just different divisions of the Saturn cult anyway that have falsely presented themselves as the arbiters of Christianity because they co-opted it.
And started an asylum in India. I could find some site plans though, okay? So this will show you how extensive they were over there, just like in America. Now, in America, these asylums and institutions pop up around the same time that they tell us that they were building these megalithic structures, which we know might not be true. So I added some of India's megalithic structures, maybe to make a connection. Okay, so this is during British rule, okay? British India, 1859 to...
So here's what I think, because this is what I almost 100% guarantee. There most certainly was if you want to call it, a common, because there's a common origin to civilization that we've mapped out through Lawrence Austin Waddell's Makers of Civilization and Race and History, and through the accounts of the Sumerian or pre-Sumerian story that was preserved in the British Edda, that it was the Gothic Aryan or Norse people who seeded civilization, created it, built it in all of the amazing places that we discuss in ancient civilization times, which would be the Indus Valley, Sumeria being we arguably maybe the first, but we don't know because there could have been something already destroyed that we're not even told about. So you have Göbekli Tepe is allegedly 12 to 10,000 years old. I don't think that they created it. I think that was the cult. But I think they probably did bury it up because it was like the Pet Cemetery. The soil of a man's heart is sour. And it's like it's tainted land. It's cursed land. So anyway, Indus Valley. So India. You have Persia, Iran and Iraq. These are all Gothic Aryan. Egypt. I know that's kind of a big one, right? Crete. Greece, same common people, all right? Same people, common to all of them, being the creators, innovators, agriculturalists, and having a common sun veneration aspect, plus marriage, plus monogamy, plus monotheism, and all that stuff. As they went, things changed, but that was the core root of it all. And then, why is it still on her face? And then we're seeing all this stuff like here. I'm guaranteeing you that wasn't hanging around since the Indus Valley times, but there's seemingly another wave, and I'm gonna let's see. I'm going to give this probably. Well, how do you say that? Assign this to the same people, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And some of the architecture being variant from one to another, I think more has to do with the cultures that were already there when our people took upon themselves, took upon leadership and were probably welcomed as they were in the past. But this just being another wave. So if it has a Tartar type of look to it, or if it has, let's say, a Berber or an Arab look to some of these structures that we'll see as we go through here, it's because it's accommodating the culture that's there with the technical and architectural prowess of the people who are the leaders and the protectors of that area. I'm thinking another sweep came through and like knocked out more of the Goths, more of the Germanic, more of the Scythian type people, and that they were flourishing also in the Americas in a time before, I don't know when. Could have been the pre-1400s, could have been maybe there up until the 16 or 1700s, but something happened it seems pretty evident. And it appears that there was an active effort to destroy any evidence that would link an older history to America, but then also worldwide, to eliminate evidence of a higher civilization with a different form of technology that was more the type you would assume would have developed when leaders of territories aren't maliciously trying to prey upon their own people and to siphon from them every bit of wealth that they have and to imprison them and impoverish them and enslave them. Rather, the community or the family, the things that they produce would be more in the mind of Tesla, where it's for the benefit of mankind rather than make everything that you produce into a weapon against them. So I think that's why the technologies are a little bit different, why the forms of electricity or energy would be different, and why you can't put a meter on some of these things. So when the happy little merchants, the greedy little merchants come along, they've got to destroy all that evidence along with the people and just mow it all down and just, brush it under the rug of history. Sweep it under the rug.
1860, there was 181 hospitals and dispensaries, 100,011 patients, and then in 1889 to 1890, 1 year.
And when I say that, I mean like I'm not saying a bunch of like peyote wearing. I'm talking about like the moneyed hands of these banking institutions, possibly in conjunction even then with whatever was left of the Holy See, the Holy Roman Empire. I think there's a lot of misinformation about their power then and now, and how it varies. It determines how we view things, and I think that's also deliberate. All right. Oh, and also Kabbalists. So the extension thereof, because we see what happened with the Royal Society, these intellectual, scholarly reading groups, Freemasons, the Oddfellows, all these things at one point were co-opted by what we would, for lack of a better term, consider a Jesuit and Frankist partnership as the perfectibilistan, i.e. the Illuminati, for lack of a better term. But that energy still goes, and that ideal still goes back to a Saturn cult, Kabbalists, right? Bunch of magicians who like to do horrible things to children.
it had changed to 1,642 institutions, 265,000 indoor patients, 11,978,000 outdoor patients.
It's like, how many? What? Right? Everybody was crazy, apparently. But they got to live in a lavish place as they were being tortured and, experimented on, I suppose, if that's what was happening there. If this is even what the history is showing us, because even this is probably a bit of a cover-up of the intent and purpose and whatever they say that they were using it for at the time that they're acknowledging it, I'm sure wasn't the true main purpose. It's like that thing where, okay, just because you inhabit something doesn't mean you built it. I didn't build this house, but I'm inhabiting it. So that's not to say that other situations like that aren't the same, where the pyramids may have been there, but maybe our people grew a civilization around it with that being right there. And then also the digging out of stuff. We're going to get into that too. How much of the old world was simply unearthed over time, and what caused that? Were these, because the pyramids, as big as they are, the Sphinx, all you saw was like the top of its head at one point. So there's some weird, I don't know, maybe like that book, the Adam and Eve story, that was allegedly suppressed by the CIA, that I read a while back, talking about cyclical cataclysms. That's assuming that it was not man-made or deliberate. There's so many questions here. It's fun. It's fun and creepy because whatever was happening then, I think we all know there's very strong elements of that happening now. And without us knowing what happened then, we can't really prepare for what's about to happen to us.
They also listed 25 lunatic asylums, 4,976 inmates, and 23 leper hospitals. And I know outdoor patient can mean a person coming in and leaving the same day, but almost 12 million people kind of sounds like the British were doing some record keeping. Colonial period, that's why it's there. That's why it's in India, because the colonial period. In this report, they're talking about building a central asylum for Indian lunatics in Ranchi. This wasn't a small facility. It was planned to hold 1,500 people. Out of those 1,500 spaces, 1,222 were males and 278 were females.
It literally says 1,500 lunatics, but then it says 1,222 males. 222. Now, just so that people don't think I'm just making shit up. In Kabbalah, okay, well, meaning of 222. The letters of the Hebrew word firstborn, Bechor, have the numerical value of 2, 20, and 200. The total of these two twos, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I've actually looked it up. Cube of space. Here we go. In the foundational Kabbalistic text, the 6 faces of a cube, along with its center axis, I think that's supposed to be it. Oh, axes. Is that what they're saying? Center axes and corners. Map out the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. It is considered the blueprint of the universe and how the divine energy interacts with physical reality. While the cube of space relies on the Hebrew letters, the New Age esoteric traditions merge Kabbalah with sacred geometry via Metatron's cube. This specific symbol contains all the Platonic solids and is widely used in spiritual practices to clear negative energies and connect. Oh yeah, it's always about the negative energies. What do you think they create? All right, so let me take away the word Kabbalah and see if there's something else comes out. Hmm. 2 times 2 equals 8, which is also the number of Saturn. Remember Saturn, number 8? In numerology and astrology, the planet Saturn, or Shani, is strongly associated with the number 8. Both share profound symbolic meanings tied to karmic. So if they're getting there from 2 times 2 times 2, and we know that they're talking about a cube, I guess that's how you wrap that around. But I've actually had you can say the same thing to these types of AI, like quick answers, and you'll get a whole. I've actually had to go from no to a yes, so it's not the best way to find information. I get it. I was just trying to go quick here. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Where was I?
Email, so quite the opposite of English. So this is the part that really caught my eye. Okay, it shows that this wasn't about health. It was about.
I'm just saying that there's probably something cryptic in the numerology and the words, and even when they type, when they're writing these things out, I think they're still expressing some sort of. It's like a spell, right? And that's why you see all the symbolism in there. Yes, it means something to someone else who has the eyes to see, meaning they were initiated and told some stuff. So you have the mystics, you have the rabbinical, and then you have the dirt, and I guess that's where we rely, like in the dirt, because we don't have their decoder ring. Some of us have an idea, but I think they also give us fake decoder rings to make us look a little silly.
Wealth, and it was about control. In the 1850s, there was a revolt. The natives had a revolt. And in 1858, there was 3 acts passed, lunacy acts, okay, that could get the government to go out and grab anybody they wanted to.
So, sign of things to come via Palantir. You don't don't worry about Israel. You're insensitive to the child killers. You want to know about the files of, that prove that these child killers are all over your quote unquote government, this corporation that you think is a government. You're crazy. You need to be Baker acted, bitch. You're coming with us. That's one way to do it. The Ministry of Magic is here to take you away.
Get and bring them into those institutions. Sound familiar? Maybe the reason the asylum story goes global is because
David Sassoon Library. Jesus. No, I mean, he's not actually, he's a Jew, but
the architecture already was global. That's an insane asylum in Athens, Ohio.
Yeah, right. In Athens, Ohio. All right, let's move on. Then I'll try not to interrupt as much this next time, but I want to kind of frame this so that people are thinking about all these different elements and all these different paths, and see if you guys put together the same stuff or see something different. All right, that's fine. We know how to fix that. We did copy. We put it all up in this bitch, and we go psha. No, and then we pause. And then we hit the music, and we go.
Egypt so heavily highlighted, so focused on in our history books and history channels, but ancient America is like a footnote. It's like, oh yeah, that happened later after Egypt. It's because they don't want us to look at these steles like in Honduras and go, that looks very Egyptian, doesn't it? And that's exactly what people were doing in the 1840s.
Or like almost humanoid alien-ish headed. That doesn't. I don't know what that looks like. It's like the eyes kind of make, and I don't know. I don't know what I would be calling that.
Like this article I'm about to read to you. They weren't looking at ruins. They were looking at connections. Listen to how these steles were found, just like the one you see behind me. Kind of seems like something big happened, right?
Yeah, like something very big enough to push over something that's like 40 tons. Yeah, and just to tip it, like some sort of cataclysmic event, perhaps. If it wasn't war, because you would imagine there might be some radioactive fallout if it's anything that like they say the weapons would be, but it doesn't have to be that. But when you see things that are massive and made out of stone, like there's a reason why when they rebuilt, they made things out of balsa wood and freaking chalk dust. It's basically what everything's built out of now, so it'd be easier to knock down and clear out when they want to change the timeline again, right? The cyclical resetting that it seems to happen. These stone things were kind of a pain in the ass. I guess our ancestors knew some stuff, and that also has to be taken away from us, because if we all knew that there was a finite time before everything's going to get obliterated, number one, we'd want to make it our life's mission to maybe burrow holes into the ground and seek refuge and figure out how to live like in Kuyu and things of that nature. But they don't want us bumping into their tunnel labyrinths. And they don't want us to be swallowing up resources on them. Should this be, I'm just using this as a hypothetical potential, not saying that this is the truth, but seeing that all of the water right now is being drained out of every place and they're calling it a drought, but it's too rapid for it to be in line with that, and the drought excuse kind of comes a little late for that, especially considering the rain of the last year and a half, I would say, that it should be improving, and yet it's going the other way. Are they siphoning this water either to store for the actual data center for later, or are the data centers simply going to be the asylums of the other era, and the same thing's going to happen to people there? Meanwhile, they're taking all of the resources that they are going to need and bringing them downtown into their little, dumbs or whatever for their use, and fuck the rest of the people. That's another reason why you wouldn't want people to know what's coming. Number one, you wouldn't be able to control them, because why would they listen to you limiting their ability to express life and experience things if everything's going to go to shit anyway? And also, you would understand their true nature. And why would they lie to you unless they wanted to leave you up here, maybe even as a sacrifice, while they hide?
Was listed at 10 feet high, lying on the ground. Another statue, 10.5 feet high, also lying on the ground with the face looking towards the heavens. And another statue, like you see behind me, 26 feet high, leaning like a tower. There was also a 23-foot tall monument standing like an obelisk, covered in hieroglyphics with a human figure carved on top. Another statue 9 feet high representing a woman. Another 19 feet high showing a woman on one side and a man on the other, still in good preservation. Then they mentioned the head of a giant, 6 feet in diameter, no body, just the head. Okay, 2 elegantly carved altars, a 12-foot obelisk, 4 more monuments in different places, including 1 circular monument sitting on a small stone-made hill. Now, this is where the know-it-alls of the world, God bless you, but this is where you need to take some notes, okay? Because nobody knows it all. That's a fact, Jack. The New York Star said the people of this country needed to prepare themselves for extraordinary developments in the researches being made throughout Central America, Peru, and Mexico. They said Americans needed to give up the habit of doubting everything they couldn't immediately understand and stop calling every strange discovery a hoax or a humbug. Instead, they said the public needed to prepare their minds to believe that this so-called new world was not really new at all. And then he starts throwing his theories, shooting from the hip, like we should all do. It says these statues, altars, obelisks, temples at Palenque, hieroglyphics, aqueducts, viaducts, and military highways may have all come from the same ancient people connected to Tyre, Babylon, the Tower, the pyramids, and Carthage.
Well, if we're talking about the pyramids, or if we're talking about, see, it says Carthage and the Phoenicians, this is, again, that conflation. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about the seafaring Goths? Or are we talking about the crummy little lace-days merchants that were into human trafficking and witchcraft? Because they use the same word for both when they're teaching you history, although nobody ever called themselves that then. Carthage is a whole other cultish, cult of Baal thing, where we know what happened when the Romans showed up. They started burning all their babies, killing all their firstborn, 200 of them, because they thought they pissed off the gods, and they were trying to cheat the gods by having stand-ins for their sacrifices. So when they were being overrun, or the Romans were outside their gates, they were like, "Oh no, let's start killing all of our children." Great, awesome. So yeah, no, not the best people. I wouldn't associate us with that. I mean, we could have been corrupted to that point, but I guarantee you there was a high concentration of that good old Saturn cult influence, as we call them, and I've actually mentioned Carthage in my book. the priestcraft, the people who have the ear of the nobles and the leaders, who guide them through superstition, and because they can make the people turn on them at any moment, they have the power, just like a banker would.
The theory was that the Phoenicians were pushed down the Mediterranean, circled Africa, reached Britain and the Western Islands, and nearly 4,000 years ago ended up in the Gulf of Mexico. From there, they
that era would be Gothic Aryan. And seafaring may have just brought them there without having to be pushed out of anything. Also, in the Orlinda book, there's brothers that are all seafarers, and one of them is named Inka, Inca, and he chooses a different path. They're like fleeing a place that's like turning into shit or whatever. It's like, I don't know if it's a Garth or whatever you want to call it, but the place isn't going to be inhabitable very much longer. So he takes his people a different direction, and they say that could be where he ended up in the Americas, because he's not. The other two are spoken of, but he's not spoken of again, assuming that he went someplace and settled.
Spread across America to the Pacific, even down to Cape Horn. It says the lost tribes of Israel traveled into an unknown country, bringing Tartars and Chinese with them. They crossed the Bering Strait, moved down the Pacific side, and came upon the Canaanites in the New World, which they probably just had boats, but this is this.
I don't know if I think a lot of these details here, because this guy is just, he said shooting from the hip. He's putting together some spun together false histories.
This guy's theory, and that's mine. And according to the article, they destroyed them a second time, along with their temples and pagan altars. Then it connects the indigenous people of America to the lost tribes, saying their religion.
So the pagans saying the thing is pagan, and associating it the way they are, that's coming from a person who is embedded into the co-opted Christianity, right? Because you can just think about all the aspects and attributes that they took from all the main ones that we say make Christianity unique: baptism, monotheism, marriage, family, all that. It was a Gothic Aryan concept before it was anything else. So they take all of that, but then they call your ancestors, their brothers, pagans, because they didn't understand veneration of heroes. So they started saying that they were polytheists, and then they started conflating them with the other cultish assholes that were around there, the Saturn cult or the serpent and wolf cult type people that were into pharmakia, human sacrifice, animal sacrifice, and they just lumped everybody together. Yeah, if you're not wearing this cloth and blah blah blah, and you're a pagan, and then they start destroying everything, destroying our history. They weren't exactly friendlies, and that's why I'm saying a lot of this Saturn cult ended up being in the foundational, the foundational people of what would become the church. And I don't think that's questionable. I think that's pretty much what they flat out tell you that. And that was in direct opposition to what Jesus Christ was, as the story goes, a direct opposition to what he was teaching.
Language and ceremonies still carry traces of that ancient origin. Now, in the article, this gentleman says this is all conjecture, but exactly, it's all conjecture. We're just trying to figure out what the F is going on. Love y'all, and have a good day. Why is E...
All right. Hey, what's up, bro? Let's see if this one works.
Okay, how do I say that? Okay. Our ancestors hated hills. They hated hills. Did your city in its past have undulations rolling through it? Bet it isn't there now. Bet it isn't there now. But just like every 19th and early 20th century story, they had to throw a bunch of money into it before they demolished it. Kind of like Bunker Hill in LA. Now, in a previous video, I showed you that in 1850, California became a state. And then 1 year later, in 1851, they built their first insane asylum. Red flag, guys. That's a red flag. Should be for everybody. But in the 1860s, a rich gentleman comes into LA. He buys Bunker Hills. Then in the 1860s and 70s, he changes it into an elite residential district. I mean, okay, think about it. The guy he's rich, and he just walks up to a hill and he's like, I'm gonna buy this hill and I'm gonna transform it into something you've never seen before. That's what he did. The first hotels looked like this. One of them is Melrose Hotel. The president stayed in it in 1901. But really, you got to picture it. Like 10 years earlier, it was a hill in a newly made state. And rich miners are just running towards this hill, wanting to build stuff like this. This had 35 rooms and 5 chimneys. But the guy that bought the hill was like, this is the best investment I've ever had. Lewis Leonard Bradbury is going to build his $80,000 house on my hill in 1887. And Lewis Leonard Bradbury wasn't done. Only a couple of years later, he built an office building in downtown LA. In 1892, Bradbury needed a 5-story office building like this. And it was done.
So obviously this history is bullshit. These are most certainly pre-existing structures. And look at the intricacy and the scope of these things. It's insane.
In 1893. But Bradbury died a couple months before it was done. It was $500,000, 3 times the original budget. In the 1890s, Bunker Hill became one of the most fashionable residential districts. And look at the hill, just the grading with everything. I mean, there's boards going over to houses.
Dude, check this out. Something's going on in the chats here, in the comments. This person says, Mom 63. I laughed when I first saw Silas Orvin talking about aliens and future civilizations, but then I saw the post where he allegedly blah, blah. Read this. This is from Prashant 2537. Like, that's not a fake account. All these numbered ones. I laughed when I first saw Silas Orvin talking. So this is the same exact thing posted by somebody else. The exact comment. What the fuck is that? So here it is again. I laugh when somebody's trying to promote something here or bot the fuck out of this thing. Look at that. Jesus.
Into the windows. And then what are these retaining walls? Why do they have like entrances into them? I'm just going to say it again. I don't have any answers for this. We're just asking questions here. We're having a discussion. Where does that go? Or did it go somewhere? Why is there 2 on 2 separate levels? I don't know. Look how high these houses are on these slopes. Think of having to take materials up there. Soon after the rise of Bunker Hill, the demise came. It was a transportation nightmare. So they had to punch the first tunnel through the hill, which was over 1,000 feet, and it was $100,000. Not only that, but they built a railway just to get people to the top. Then in the 1920s, they doubled down, more money. Needed another tunnel, 1,500 feet long, the 2nd Street tunnel. Then 1 year later, they built the Pacific Electric Railway. All that money spent, massive mansions, extensive tunnels, electric rail connection, all to be erased by urban renewal in 1959. Does your city have a story like that? Love y'all and have a good day.
So every single comment is about the Silas Orvin thing. All of them. Like all of them. What the fuck happened there? All right, let's see. We have D-Bot. What's up, buddy? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things assigned to him. But what I'm saying is, as far as whether or not they're pre-existing or they're just assigned to people so that they can create the history, I don't know one or the other. But some of these things that they say takes a year or 2 years, or that's just the one wing of it, and then 7 years for the other wing. It's like none of the stuff adds up. So that's all I'm saying is that they assign this to somebody and say that this person is the new owner, or are they actually the builders, or the ones that initiated the building? Who knows? Yeah, I'm familiar with that actually. So yeah, let's see. Thank you for contributing to my daughter's gymnastic fund. I greatly appreciate it, sir. Gbot 805. Oh, by the way. I'm breaking down D-Bot. I'm going to do it. So I don't know because it's been so long, but I think I recall, because you said this, I'm like, it's too simple. It's too simple. It's got to be more to it. It's got to be more complicated, right? So I think I recall in the past, when I unscrew a gas cap, I hear like a vacuum noise, like the air's sucking in. And I'm not 100% sure I've ever heard that with the van. So maybe you're right about the cap. It just seems like it's too freaking simple. And it's like, I don't know. $20 to find out that it's not the problem. Psh, it's hurting me, bro. And then I gotta go look around and see which ones I like the most, which ones look like they have more suction or whatever. There's no gasket on any of them. It's all plastic on metal. I don't know how that's supposed to make a seal. Anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna do what you said. I'm gonna try it out. It's very reluctant at first. I'm like, no, it's gonna be more complicated. It's gotta be. Fix my blinker though. That was cool. Anyway, let's go on. So these will have different impacts as we go. And yeah, like I said, they're not exactly in the order because I can't remember. But there was a couple that I saw connections with that I wanted to kind of group together when we talked about them. We'll work on that. Let's go see what's going on in Rumble. Nothing. I've got nothing for sale. Did you ever see that movie? Dead Rats. You guys, History of the World Part 1. Speaking of void phase. Just try a new cap and leave old. Return new cap. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. I don't know if they have that actual one. I might have to order online and get it. So if I do that, then it's just gonna be the thing. All right. What am I doing? Just press some buttons now. Here we are.
That is the Washington National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. They tell us the foundation stone was laid in 1907, and the whole cathedral wasn't done until 1990. That's 83 years. Now, that should really make you pause there.
So this one takes 83 years, but other ones are done in 2 years, entire freaking cities, and then they tear them down 6 months later after a World's Fair. I'm sure that's totally the truth. 100%.
Right? Because of all the other stone temples we talk about, all the other grand cathedrals we discussed that took 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years. This one took 83. And listen, that amount of time, 83 years, if that was tagged on to a lot of these places that I talk about, hell, even 43 years, even 13 years, I would probably not be freaking out so much. I would probably not have a social media page, which is really sad to think about. But if you go back to the history of this cathedral, it doesn't sound like they were starting from scratch. And I say that because of the early photos like you just saw, and this one in 1924, the National Cathedral Day. But their 1907 foundation stone book that talks about all the preparation before the foundation stone was laid is what really sets that in. And this list, talking about the changes and improvements that needed to happen before the cornerstone ceremony was started, shows that there was a lot of infrastructure already there. The electric lighting system on the cathedral grounds was more than doubled. So it was already there, electric lighting, they needed to double it. Then it starts to talk about the school for the girls, which was already there in 1900. It's a French Renaissance mansion, 4.5 stories tall. Then it says right above me, a bell tower was added.
Is that greening indicative of copper trim on that roof?
The little sanctuary, which means that this infrastructure was already there before the 1907 ceremony. But the college for preachers was supposedly made after this ceremony, but the photo, it says differently. Another one founded after in 1909, the school for the boys.
What's
but
that?
I don't know what's going on in this picture, and it has the mysterious one guy in it. Another odd part on the list is this 20-foot Celtic-style peace cross that was dedicated in 1898. But in the book it says in 1907 it needed to be raised because that's where the cathedral was going, right where that cross was just dedicated at. And I ran into a familiar name during this research, Frederick Law Olmsted, who did all of the grounds around the cathedral. And if you don't know him,
He says Olmsted had a huge role in this new timeline we are in.
look him up. And way before all of that information, in 1854, St. Albans Church was founded right on the same property as the cathedral, and it was named that after a cathedral in England. And I know that tiny little church being named after a massive cathedral in England maybe points to the fact that there was a...
So this right here looks like a magnetron to me. See how it has what looks like the Walmart little peacock feathers going around in a circle, and then circles on the outside. I'm sure it's, symbols give off an energy, right? But if you ever looked at a magnetron, let's see if we can look at that. It's also the same thing that's designed on the wristwatches of the quote unquote Anunnaki, which is just a misinterpretation. But in the Sumerian text, you'll see that it looks like they're wearing a wristwatch, and it has those looks like maybe flower petals from like a daisy or something like that around the circle. That's exactly what a lot of these buildings that they call cathedrals, sonic resonance machines. I don't know, but let's take a look at what a magnetron looks like. What power is your microwave? I'm saying it wrong. I'm going to find out in a second. Not that. I'm saying it wrong then. Oh, well, that's first I said. So you see how that looks like that? See the circles? It's just an interesting coinky-dink, I guess. The magnetron. Output coupling loop, resonating cavity, copper anode block, oxide coating leads to the cathode and heater. Just a little interesting, in my opinion. A lot of the stone ruins in South Africa have a magnetron shape to them too. The stone circles. Maybe they were amplifying a type of energy that was radiating from the earth, like just some sort of ethereal energy. Who knows? Capturing it, and Anyway, magnetron from microwave. There we go. Yep, basically the same shite. Anyhow, just again another little thing to look at. So you look at that. You see the center circles and you see the outer ones. But the petals, oh yeah, let's see the Anunnaki wristwatch. Let's look at that too. I know that's not what it really is, but that's what they call it. No. See? It's got that, looks like a daisy in the center, but it's actually a band that's wrapped around their hands, and they got their shopping bag. They got their coach bag right here. See, everybody's wearing a wristwatch. That's our Gothic Aryan ancestors that they said were Anunnaki. That one literally looks like a flower. And then there's the, watch out, I've got a pine cone, bitch. I'm gonna pine cone you. Don't. No. Don't make any sudden moves.
Massive cathedral on that property, but that's not why. After 1907, it wasn't until way later that we started to really add on to this cathedral, and you can see the older parts and the newer parts. And then in 2011, an earthquake destroyed a lot of it.
Of course.
So we rebuilt it with robotic drills. We could do it by hand, but we're just going to use the robotic drills. Love y'all, and have a good day.
Right, because it couldn't possibly have been created the first time around with some sort of higher tech than we're allowed to say or know that we had at the time. Of course.
Isn't it cute? Columbus, Ohio's courthouse. You have to remember this one. 1885 to 1887, $500,000. You got to remember this.
2 years.
Look at it.
2 years.
Wow. I say it's cute because this is the little brother. There's a big brother, and it's in Indiana. I wonder if they fight and give wedgies and stuff. What's crazy is Columbus, Ohio and Indianapolis have a lot more in common. That courthouse you saw in Columbus 60 years earlier was actually just the woods. It was the woods.
Of course
and
it was.
Ohio needed a capital city, so they thought to do it in the woods. Okay? 50 years earlier, before this was here, it was founded in Indianapolis in 1821. It looks old. And it sure looks old, and it really looks like this was a docking station for airships, but we all know that.
Don't get all crazy with it. It could have been any number of things. Could it just be pulling energy in from the ether, from the anything? Look at the ones over here that actually look like light bulb filament from the older light bulbs, like this one. You see what the fan's pointing right here? See how it's like flared out like that? It almost looks like a coil at the top of those buildings. Isn't that interesting?
That wasn't true. Inside, they supposedly brought in Italian artisans. There was emblematic symbols on the ceilings in the courtroom. There was painted murals all over the place. And the locals at that time said that they ruined a perfectly good building. I mean, this thing was $1.5 million. And these narratives always have somebody like, nah, I don't like it, just to make it easier for when it gets demolished later on. And doesn't it look like it's sitting on something much older, like old world? Old world? Like, look where the grade was on the windows. Just got a little pinch of these windows. I don't think they built it that way. Now I'm going to hop around Indiana, okay, to different courthouses because they're amazing. But if you want a more detailed look, boots on the ground work, average white guy who is not average whatsoever, go check him out. So shockingly, Marion County, Indianapolis, the courthouse there. That same year, 1876, Montgomery County built this for a city of 5,000 people. And a couple years later, in Franklin, Indiana, Johnson County Courthouse was built in 1879 for $100,000. And that same...
Sure it was. They're always built just early enough for nobody to have been born yet or not over the age of a toddler to verify, of course. And it's always post the incorporation, at least when they're telling us. I mean, these were probably, I'm sure, there for a long time before that, but like timelines restart. 76 was an interesting year, too. There were some World's Fairs, I believe, in that year. And then then there was the 93 one, the 1893 that we went over a little bit. There was also some fires all around that. Like, they were already starting to do the cleanup, but yet these structures, I'm sure that's all legitimate. And if you think about how early these could have possibly been, like, what the hell did they use to build them? What the hell's going on here? Especially in the time, like, take away all the tools you have that are power tools and any other saws and anything like that, any other measure. Take it all away, and then think of like what did the founding fathers have for freaking tools that we're supposed to know about, and tell me that this wasn't Gothic Aryans or Scythians that were already here that had built most of this shit. Is that the Tartar that they're talking about? Was it Gothic Aryan? Because it sure as hell wasn't Berbers. It wasn't Berbers and Moors. Give me a goddamn break. Moors were white, by the way. Their slaves were black. I hate when people do that thing where it's like, oh, it's black. No, their slaves were black. Their slave companions are the ones that went around doing the raping in Sicily.
Year of 1879, Park County went from this to... How could it even make sense? There was 2,000 people in this town. This was 110.
Okay, maybe not white, Arab, but not black, is my point.
$1,000. So they beat Franklin just a couple years before Indianapolis Courthouse. This was built in Bartholomew County. Who would build that in the 1870s in Indiana? Who would do that? In 1881, the well-known Tippecanoe County, you know Tippecanoe County, right? They decided to build a $500,000 courthouse, which was the most expensive courthouse till 1902. You know Tippecanoe.
Tell me these weren't dwellings for noble leaders of people that were probably quite content and happy with being led by said people. That's all I'm saying. I think there may have been this is just conjecture on my part, that maybe life was so good that they did become lax and were able to be toppled over by some marauder assholes, because life was so peaceful and good for so long that they may have lost their edge. They were too busy doing constructive, positive things in life. That's just a thought. It sucks to think that they were caught off guard because they were getting soft. No, I don't know if they were getting soft. They were getting sophisticated. You know, or sophistication. Sophist is the bad word, but how do you say it? Stoicated? It doesn't work the same.
Typical Tippy. And amazingly, that same year that old Tippy was throwing some cash in the air, Warsaw, Indiana built their courthouse too. The bricks on this courthouse could stretch 85 miles long. And just the year after, in 1882, Clinton County Courthouse, 165-foot clock tower, which is the exact
And of
same.
course, when you see like 0 people on the streets or anybody in the pictures, totally makes more sense that these massive things would be there with barely any population. A lot of people say, where did they go? And that's why it could have been a cataclysm. It could have been natural. I don't know. Or maybe they were aware and they were down there, subterranean. Who knows? Who knows? Or evil Kabbalists murdered everybody and then they started populating and selling. Europeans, get your ass over here. They got rid of those really tall ones.
Same size as Madison County Courthouse clock tower. And
So
the
many
same
questions.
year, we've got a very similar one, Delaware County Courthouse.
Doesn't it blow your mind? Like if these are all real, and I'm assuming and trying, I'm not assuming anything, but I'm hoping that this isn't mixed in with some AI footage. I don't think it is. But isn't it amazing just how many of these things were around? I remember just in upstate New York in Mechanicville, there were some really, really cool buildings. And then I used to go, one of them was a candy store, an old man who ran a candy store, who wore an apron. When I was a little kid, my grandmother would take me this. It was just up the road from what ended up becoming our apartment for a while on Park Avenue. Park Avenue in upstate, not in the city. Don't get confused. And yeah, you don't realize how unique of an experience that is until it's gone. And then I had a glimpse of what traditional American small town life was. You had a man who was a candy store owner wearing an apron and talking to his customers and being smiley and happy and friendly to my grandmother and, hey, how are you doing to me? And then they tore. It was a beautiful building. They tore it down. It was like 3 businesses in it, and they put up a fucking Stewart's ice cream shop. Stewart's is a chain. It's a gas station with it was a travesty. The majority of its parking lot after that, and it's just like, oh, there's something evil. There's something evil about that. Corporate franchise moves in, destroys the wholesomeness, the anchors of what make small town living so unique and special. Any town living so unique and special. It was sad. It's crappy. I have the memory, but that's all we get. And then when people like us go, then that memory is never there. We never know unless we're watching a depiction through Jewish Hollywood what old time living was like, or Norman Rockwell painting or some shit like that, And that's why when that guy said that, what he said about, profit over people, and you focus on the profit, I'm like, then you miss the whole point of a business. You're supposed to be serving your community with what you do. You're supposed to be proud of having something good enough to do that with, and you're supposed to stand behind it with all of your integrity and all of your, it's a direct reflection of who you are and what you want to be remembered by, and everything that you do. When you are always your first line of representation, show what you want the world to see. And if you want to earn the respect and earn the love and care of the people that meant the most to you, you would always rise to want to make them proud. And that should be carried to everybody and everything that you do. It should be a direct reflection of your character, whatever it is that you engage in. If you engage in it, do it to your fullest. If you're seeing how can I get the most out of this person, now you're a predator with a business. And anybody who says that and just says that to me on a public platform, this Price Johnson, whatever the fuck his name is, wow, I hope nobody encounters him doing business. That's the mentality. Really. That's a corporate mentality. That's why that's evil versus the wholesome. I have been saying since the beginning that we do things the way small businesses are supposed to. You make your own product, you have a direct connection with it, your heart, your passion is going into it. And for the most part, we're the ones also presenting it because we store most of the time. I was either there at employees, and before that with farmers markets. You're the one interacting with the customers. Why is that seemingly the old way of thinking now? Hey, this guy says Stoic Stanton. As I was just talking about Stoic, that's funny.
1885. Still in the 1880s, people. 1887 Noble County Courthouse looks very similar to Lee County Courthouse here in Giddings, Texas. Look how similar that is. And isn't it cute? Columbus.
Okay. Let's see if there's talkie. Yes, that's right, Ervat. Amazon, easy returns. Yeah, I'm not going to... we'll see how we do it. I've seen a couple. I want to make sure... I'm not going to... I want to make sure it's something that I think is going to fit it, right? There's a lot of There's so many bullshit things that when it comes to buying a part, it'll say it's for something. That's why it gets me angry every time I buy online for shit. Parts Geek is usually right. Most of the people are douchebags. They'll sell you whatever. And then you realize, why did you list my vehicle when it wasn't? It wasn't for that. I've had that happen right in front of O'Reilly. In O'Reilly's, I'm like, I just told you all you needed to know, and too much information, and that your computer still matched the wrong part. Come on, man. My friend D-Boss says, my friend Travis wants to interview you on RBN podcast. Can I give him your number to talk first? I don't know who he is. Send me something of what he's into, and then after that, I'll let you do that. I don't know who the person is that you're giving my number to. So, yes, that's green patina, says Dan Simmons. I thought so. So it's like the kind of like the corrosion type of thing, like when pennies get wet. Pass down the memories and stories to the younger generations. Exactly. I used to fill a bag of handmade candies for $0.25 in 1950s Burbank. That's awesome. All right, let's see who we got over to the... Hey, Karen's here. Your shirt looks like it has magical unicorns bouncing off it. Yeah, it's green. It's probably... yeah. In a white background, it looks worse. When it's in a darker one, it looks fine. If I'm on this screen, I think it doesn't react as much. The hell? Oh, I get it. Karen says we can't have nice things anymore. Definitely nothing that will last. It's so sad. Karen says creativity? Nope. Can't pay for the time or talent or materials for that beautiful thing. Walmart sells it cheaper after they stole it. Yeah. And Amazon, of course. Yeah, Amazon, I don't like them anymore. They are doing dynamic pricing, and they're gouging, and they're shitheads and evil in every way. But it doesn't mean I won't try to set myself for affiliate links. So if you guys go buy shit, you can just use my link. Let's see. Thank you, Thomas E. Dwyer, for dropping Hamilton's like you're Aaron Burr. You guys are awesome. Thank you. He's on tonight at 8. Yeah, I'm going to be at the farmer's market tonight. Just a matter of fact, I got to see if Rebecca wants me to leave yet. I got to check that. I'll do that when we play the next video. I'll meet up with them. Things are good, in case anybody cared. There you go.
What's that say? Wear a mask or go to jail. How long ago was this? None of y'all looked like this, y'all warriors. None of y'all did. 110 San Francisco arrests of mask slackers. Influenza masks. What year was this again?
Spanish influenza, buddy. 1919 to 1921, 2-ish.
Over 100 years later, and we're still following. It's the same playbook. And shouldn't we look cooler than them? That's from 1919. Shouldn't we look cooler? That don't fit. That's line. The Indian Babylon. You mean the one in Wisconsin? A recent report says the findings of an ancient brick wall.
Oh, listen to this fucking retard. Dude, I swear to God, these people are fucking pathetically stupid. This is why the fucking world is going to end. See this fucking retard right here? He's probably a fake account. He's definitely a fake intellect. Brother, masked work. I lost 4 people at my job during COVID. I worked there masked for over 2 years. What is that? How is that a fucking proof? There was no virus. It doesn't fucking exist, and that's not how you get sick. Literally, I stopped wearing a mask 2 weeks later. I got COVID. Wow. Well, I guess it's proof then that you're a fucking idiot. I don't understand how there's people that don't believe that COVID was real in the mask because it wasn't. It doesn't mean that it wasn't someone trying to poison people. You sound like the type of person who probably got the flu shot that fucking year too in November or December. And then by January when you were sick, you're like, oh, it's the virus they told me all about. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know causation, but I took a mask off and I got sick. You're a retard. Because a set of symptoms that have nothing to do with anything, because that thing, that name that they gave it doesn't fucking exist. There's no virus, there's no test, because they can't, there's nothing to test for, but they'll lie all the way to the fucking grave for you. You goddamn idiot. PFO music, you shouldn't be allowed to have a computer. Okay, hold on, let's see. We're heading over. Okay, I gotta go, kids. We'll finish this up later. Support your local ballbuster and all that stuff. You know all of the words. At least get onto the Italian Unk, because I'm gonna start posting more stuff there for the Lock and Talks. I don't understand why people are this stupid. Can I say that? Our history was a complete fucking lie. They were on fire building these forts. That was suspicious and funny. Okay, so we will stop right there. We'll start with this one. I rolled my R's pretty good there. That was good. I like that. Oh, he lives in Arizona. Yeah, let me. I'm not gonna be able to see what he's doing. Is RBN one of those things where you can watch past videos? Can you send me a link or something? You can email it to me or text it to me or whatever, and I'll look at it later on. But I just would like to know what the person is, because there's people out there that are very, 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 let's say, predatorial, and they have done some dirty shit pretending and posing as, oh, buddy, you gotta know that. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're telling the internet that you're crotch gobbling somebody that you don't like or something. It's fucking awful. These people are pieces of shit. Vodka. Anyway. Talk to you. You know what I'm talking about, Karen. It says, we wouldn't have noticed if it was 25 or 50 more, but 200, yeah, we noticed. And, oh, yeah, Amazon was doing this pricing thing in 2009. Garmin radio was almost $200 cheaper when brother-in-law bought it from his account instead of mine. Holy shit. Holy shit. I think he told me that story before. Yeah, that's one that should be remembered, though. All right, we're going to stay with the same, this thing, this thumbnail, because we're going to continue on with this. But the guys, it's called Luminary Lighthouse, if you care, on Instagram. I'm guessing that's what I haven't been on his YouTube channel yet, but I'm sure there's probably, unless you're an idiot like me and change the name depending on the platform you're on. So it's harder for people to find you. Brilliant. All right, let's see. He's definitely all white and not woke. That's cool. PFO looks like a NASA chud would tell you that. Chud would yell at a NASA nigga. All right, Irvat, what's up, buddy? He is definitely okay. So PFO is getting ready for pre-demons. I'm sorry, I'm retarded. My brain is on 2 different levels right now. I gotta get out. So I will be back, hopefully. I'm the money guy, and my daughter's gonna want a what do you call it? A Dubai chocolate thingy with strawberries in it. So I'm gonna have to go get that. All right. Thank you for support. I'll be back. And remember, go pro.